Okay, we're on now, so anything you say is going to be recorded. No, it probably just will pick me up, but it probably won't pick y'all up very well. Welcome to Business Calculus, or whatever the formal title is. What is the formal title there? Fundamentals of Calculus with Applications, informally known as Business Calculus. So this is Math 1306. So I hope everyone's in the right spot. Is everyone in the right spot? You're supposed to be in Business Calculus, okay? Because I changed rooms, but that was a couple of weeks ago. So I hope the people that are in the other room are eventually going to figure it out. It looks like most people made it here. We have a class of about 40, so this looks like more or less 40. So one reason I switched over here is I like the technology a little bit better, and this room holds a little bit more than 40 people, so it's going to be a little bit roomier than the other room that we were in, but we're still pretty full, as you can see. Most of the things that we're going to be doing, as I mentioned just a moment ago, we will do on the projector, okay? So I'm going to be keeping notes and things like that on the notebook computer, and so that will show up here, and I'll be posting that after class, and usually I hope to do it immediately after class, but sometimes it takes a little while. As you can see, the microphone is, I'm also recording things. So everything, you're not going to see me, but you'll hear me, but everything that goes over the laptop is going to be recorded, so, and my voice. So, and then I'll be posting those to YouTube. So you'll have kind of a, if you want to, you can go back and review the lecture, okay? If there's some points in there that you want to see again, or if you just, really find it entertaining, you can go back and review it, okay? As much as you like, because it'll be on YouTube. At least through the end of the semester. I have opened to the, of course, this is our Blackboard page, and I just wanted to point out a few of the things that are going to be posted on the Blackboard page through the semester, but this is not the primary platform that you'll be interacting with this semester. So you'll go to the Blackboard page occasionally. For instance, if you want to get the lecture notes, a printed version of the lecture notes, or if you want to see the lecture videos, the links there will be posted on the Blackboard page. And some other things will be posted here, but primarily you'll be, when you're working on class stuff, you'll be using the online homework platform, which is called Webassign, and I'll be showing you that in just a second, okay? But what is on the Blackboard page, right, that you have access to, through your my UHD Blackboard account, will be, of course, the class syllabus, but you probably won't look at that too often. We'll look at that right now. Here's where the class notes are going to be, and in the class notes section, that's where I will post the links to the lecture videos as well. When we get ready for tests, we always have sample tests for those to help you prepare for those. So those will be posted here, but that's a little ways off yet. We'll look at the first test date in the syllabus shortly, and then after we've had a test, of course, then there'll be test answers, and there are also links here to some of the online tools that we'll be using. This is the online homework system, so I'll show you more. As a link to the online homework system, I'll show you more about that in just a second, because that's really important. And again, that's what you're going to be primarily using when you're working on the class stuff. These two links are links to online calculators, graphing calculators that we're going to use here in the class, so you don't have to purchase a graphing calculator, but it will be good to have a calculator, a scientific calculator, just to help you do routine calculations, but you really don't need to purchase a graphing calculator. We'll be doing a lot of graphing, but you don't need to purchase a graphing calculator because we can use the online tools for that purpose, and they're actually better than what the graphing calculator will be. But if you have a graphing calculator already, that's fine. You can use that as well. But a scientific calculator is one that has an ln key, a natural log key, or a log key, an log key on it. If it's got that key, then that will probably do all the sorts of routine calculations that we need. Okay. Now, a lot of people I know today like to use their phone for the calculator, for their calculator, and when you're at home, that's fine. But in class, I don't really like to see cell phones out. So if your cell phone is out, you can put that away for me, okay? And I'll try to keep mine put away too. Mine's in my pocket, so put that in your pocket because that's kind of a little bit of a distraction. See, I hear mine going off right now. See, and I'm just desperate to look at what is being texted, right? But I'm not going to set a good example for you. So try to put that away. And so that means, unless you're just desperate, in class don't use your cell phone as your calculator. I prefer you have a separate calculator. Okay. All right. I didn't say one of the most important things here, which is welcome to Math 1306. I'm really excited to have you here in this class. This is a really important class for business majors, so I assume everyone here is planning on majoring on something related to business, okay? And this is really going to be a key class in helping you get accepted, if you haven't been accepted already, into the business major here at UHD. So you may have declared your intention to major in business, but you have to, there's some other requirements before you're actually accepted by the business college that you have to fulfill. And sometimes this class, because it's calculus, right, this class kind of trips people up on their way to declaring business majors. So I really want to work hard with you this semester to make sure you're not one of those victims of business calculus, okay? I'm going to do my best to make sure you end up here with a good grade, okay, at the end of the semester. And I think if you participate by coming to class and doing your homework and preparing for your tests and all the usual things that are necessary, visiting the peer tutor when the peer tutor is having a session. If you do those things, then you will end up with a good grade. Maybe not an A, right? Okay, because this is calculus, so not everyone's going to end up here with an A. And maybe not even with a B, but I think you have a good chance of making an A or B, but at least a C, right? We don't want to send anybody out here with a D or, God forbid, an F, right? Okay? So I'll do my best, and I think if you do your part, we'll end up with a really good grade, okay? Or a fair grade at least, right? Let's take a look at the, let me see if this link to the syllabus works, and we'll take a look at the syllabus here, which I've already passed out to you. So that's the big, long sheet that's got, let's see if that's going to open. That's got all that information about the class in it. And we're not going to go through all of that line by line because that would take us for the rest of the period. But I want to hit some of the high points here. One thing really important is contact information for me, okay? So that is my email address, and that's my office location. So I'm located back over in the One Main building in South 655, and that is my office phone, okay? So if you need to email me or call me, please do. Don't be a stranger. Here are my standard office hours. But you can also get to me by appointment at other times. So normally I should be there in my office after class, immediately after class on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m. But if these times are not convenient, then please make an appointment. It might be good sometimes if you know you're going to come to the office. You don't have to know ahead of time, but if you know you're going to come to the office to check with me to make sure that I'm there and I haven't gotten called away with, some other sort of meeting or appointment, right? Here's what this course is about. So if you're, and I assume most of you are new to calculus, or all of you are new to calculus, so you may be wondering, what's calculus about, okay? And so calculus, you can read this description. Calculus helps us study the change between related quantities. So we're going to be studying related quantities in this semester, and when we change one quantity, the effect that has on the second related quantity. Okay, there are two pieces here to calculus, though, and we're going to start off with the part of calculus that's called differential calculus. Okay, and that's when we break the changes up in one quantity into little tiny pieces, and then we study the effect that has on change in the second quantity. Okay. The second part of calculus, which we'll do in the second part of the semester, towards the end of the semester, is called integral calculus. And there, what we do is we break these changes up into, again, into these tiny pieces, and we study how much of a quantity is made by repeatedly adding a little bit to it. Okay, and so that sounds a little bit vague and not too exciting, but it turns out that calculus has lots of applications, particularly in business, and so we're going to study those applications, particularly to business, this semester. Okay, what makes calculus really powerful is that what we think about is when we're breaking these quantities into tiny pieces, is we're going to think about what happens when those tiny pieces not become really small, but when they become infinitesimally small. So we're going to think about what happens when those pieces become so small that they're infinitesimally small. That's a hard word to say, okay, but that's the right word, all right? And you'll get the feel for that the first time we try doing that, okay, because that's a really interesting thought exercise, and that's really where calculus begins. That's what sort of separates calculus from algebra or arithmetic, okay? It's sort of this idea of infinitely small quantities, okay? And how can we measure and deal with infinitely small quantities? It seems like that would not be possible to do, but it turns out actually your intuition can guide you very well in that sort of process. So keep that description there of what the class is about in mind, okay, throughout the semester, because you're going to see we're going to keep coming back to this description over and over again, okay? And I'll try to remind you when we're doing things that are related to this description. I'll try to remind you, see, I told you we were going to be doing this. We will have a textbook, of course. You can buy a hard copy of the text. So here's a hard copy of the text. You can buy that in the bookstore, but it's really super expensive, okay? Really super expensive. So I think it's unreasonably expensive. And you really don't need to have a hard copy of the text, okay? Because the full version of the text is available online in the online homework platform, okay? But what you will need is access to the online homework platform, okay? And that is called Webassign, and I will show you here in just a second Webassign, okay? So you can get a full e-copy of the book in Webassign. Now, I will be referring to the book occasionally in the notes, but I probably refer to the book less than maybe other courses do, all right? So I think the e-copy of the text is plenty sufficient, okay, for what you're going to need the text for, all right? So I really don't recommend, because of the expense, buying a hard copy of the text, okay? But you absolutely will have to have access to the online homework platform. That is not optional, okay? Because all of our homework will be done online. Absolutely every bit of the homework will be done online, and well, when I say absolutely every bit, there may be a couple of exceptions to that, but not many, all right? Almost all of the homework will be done online, and all of your grades are going to be kept online in the online homework platform. So if you are not enrolled in the online homework platform, then you are kind of invisible in the course, all right? So that means I can't record your grades, right? You sort of don't exist. So you absolutely must have access to that. All right, now, if you purchase that access online, the cost is $82, so that includes the textbook, all right? You can buy, I understand, but I didn't check this, it's listed on the bookstore website. You can go to the bookstore and purchase just the access code for the online homework system through the bookstore as well. Of course, they have a markup, so I think the cost there is like $126, all right? But again, that includes the textbook and access to the online homework, which is absolutely essential. So if you want to try to purchase this through the bookstore, you can, but you don't go purchase it online. Now, you can go ahead and enroll in the class online, and there's a grace period, okay? So you don't absolutely have to have the $82 immediately. I think we have a grace period till February 1st. So what's today, the 20th? So you've got like, 11 or 12 days to where you can still enroll, do the homework, and then after February 1st, they'll freeze you out until you actually, confirm that you've purchased the access. Okay, so you have a little bit of time to collect the money. So I strongly encourage you to go ahead and enroll in the online homework platform immediately, okay, so you can start doing homework immediately. And actually, there's an assignment. I don't know how far we'll get into the lecture today after I get through all these details. But you can, there's one assignment which is just how to enter answers in this system. If you're not used to this system, how to enter the answers. And that assignment doesn't require really any special knowledge, so you can go ahead and work on that assignment, immediately, okay? And I'll show you something about the due dates here when we first look at the online homework platform, okay? So this one is really important. There's the address that you'll go to. It's www.webassign.net, okay? So you can click on this or get to it, or you can get to it through this link. That's not a hard thing to remember, though, okay? That's how you'll get to the online homework, okay? So look, if this is going to be a difficult for you getting access to the online homework, after the grace period ends on February 1st, then you're going to have to let me know immediately, okay, right? Because as I mentioned, if you're not enrolled there, I'm thinking that you are not in the class, okay? You're not either planning to stay in the class or, you're not participating, all right? So you really you have to let me know and talk with me about that, okay? I'm not sure what I can do, but I need to know about it, right? Okay? All right. So we'll look at Webassign here in just a second. I want to open that separately. You have lots of help here available to you in the class. Okay, that's listed in the syllabus. So one thing is the Math Center, where you can go and ask questions. That is in North 925, back in the one main building. There are the hours for it, 9 to 8, Monday through Thursday. It's open on Friday, not in the afternoon, though, apparently. And then on Saturday, also on the afternoon. We don't have Sunday hours yet. That's unfortunate. But it is open on Saturday afternoon, okay? And so you can go there, and that's walk-in tutoring, so you don't need an appointment. You just walk in there, and that's a great place to do your homework because there are computers there. And you can ask questions immediately if you've got questions. You don't have to do your homework there. You can just talk to the tutors as well about whatever questions that you have. You might take your test review there, for instance, when we get ready for a test, and ask questions about that. Okay, so that's walk-in tutoring. However, you have access to, and this is really a luxury for this class. Okay, you have access to a built-in tutor for this class you've already met. His name is John, okay? And John is going to be available in South 405, okay, at particular times. How will we decide the times, John? Are you going to?
It's going to be 11:30 to 12:30, so
it's right after this class, okay? So John is available 11:30 to 12:30 right after class. Oh, that's during my office hours too. So you can either come see me, or you can go visit John, okay, in South 405, and see John is sitting here, so he's listening to everything that I'm saying, right? So he knows exactly how I'm teaching the material, and what I've told you to do, and so he can help you, give you very specific help with this particular class, okay? And so he'll be a great resource on the homework, but in particular when we're getting ready for tests, okay? I think John will be a really valuable then, okay? So I encourage you to make him earn his money, okay? And go visit him and ask him questions, all right? So those are really two powerful sources of help that you've got in the class. So I'm going to remind you of that through the semester, okay? Don't let yourself get buried. Calculus is one of those subjects that, it's going to take a little bit of time to sort of glom onto what's happening, right, what we're doing. It's a little bit different than algebra, okay? And so, if you've got that initial hesitancy at the beginning of the semester, right? But, and so you're in a fog, right, at the beginning, what's Dr. Waller doing? This is so strange. This is weird. That'll work itself out over time, but the thing is you don't want to be then so far behind, right, by the time the light bulb finally goes off in your head, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, okay, it's not that hard after all. You don't want to be so far behind, so take advantage of those help resources, okay? I would also encourage you to study with amongst yourselves, all right? So if you when you make friends here in class, okay, take advantage of those friendships, right? And get together and study together, okay? If you've got a convenient time, all right? Studying with others, particularly others, who are going through the same experience as you, trying to learn the same material, is really powerful. That's actually, I think, more powerful than coming to ask me questions or even coming to ask John questions, okay? Asking yourself questions and trying to figure it out amongst yourselves is really how you'll learn a powerful way of learning the material, okay? All right. Let's get to the good stuff here. Let's talk about policies and grades, okay? All right, look, I have to tell you this, so this is just, a formality requirement. You've got to, I have to have a record that you've been here. I was supposed to take attendance today, but I forgot to take the roll sheet. So I will start taking attendance on Monday, okay? I will take attendance every day. We do have an attendance policy, okay, in the class. But it's particularly important that you come here the first few class periods, because if I don't have a record of you attending after 10 days or by February 3rd, then I have to report you, okay? And they're liable to drop you, okay? So you can either sign the roll sheet on Monday or Wednesday, right? Or if you have enrolled in the online homework platform, then I'll know also that you have been here, right? Okay? So I need some initial record that you've been here, right? Or otherwise I have to report you to, the registrar's office, and they'll take action to try to drop you, okay? If you need some test accommodations, okay, then you need to register with Disability Services and let me know, okay? And of course, we'll be happy to accommodate you in whatever requirements that you have, right? Okay. So let me know about that if you need to. So I mentioned, right, that we do have an attendance policy, and so I will be taking roll each day starting on Monday. You have not violated the. Now I do give some. There's going to be some days in the winter, especially when people are absent, because people tend to get sick, right? So bad weather may keep you from being here someday. So we do have some exceptions, okay? But we will take roll every day. And so the attendance policy is that if you miss more than 3 classes, so I would particularly encourage you to not miss any classes, because we're going to be doing a lot of things in class, right? Okay, I'm going to be talking a lot, and we'll be doing a lot of activities in class. But if you do have to miss, you have to miss. Please do not miss more than 3 class periods, though, because then you are in violation of the attendance policy. So if you're going to miss, today was the right day to miss, okay, because I'm not taking roll today, but I will be taking it starting Monday, right? And I'll talk about what happens with that attendance policy in just a second, okay? But that's the attendance policy, right? Of course, you don't want to miss tests, right? Okay, you do not want to miss tests. That's a day you especially don't want to miss, all right? Because I usually don't give makeup tests unless there are unusual circumstances. I can give makeup tests with unusual circumstances, but you really have to convince me, okay, that you had some sort of, circumstance that absolutely prevented you from taking the test, right? And if I'm not convinced, then I'll just give you a 0 for the test, okay? So don't miss tests, right? We're going to have homework, of course. The homework dates are pretty firm. I'm pretty lenient. So I'll try to accommodate the class, right, on if you are saying, oh, Dr. Waller, we haven't finished that homework yet. That was too hard. You gave us too many problems, okay, or something like that. Or if you have, again, some sort of unusual circumstances that makes you late on an assignment, I can't extend the due dates, but normally the due dates will be firm, okay? Your homework will not be due at the time of the test, okay? So I know a lot of instructors have that policy. That is not my policy, okay? So my policy is to give you the homework and tell you the due date, right? Okay? And I normally will try to stick to that due date, okay? If we can't make the due date, then, y'all need to tell me and we'll work around that, okay? But it's not due at the time of the test, so don't make that mistake. There's Webassign again, so I want to open that and show you that. Here are the components of your grade. So we have homeworks, that's 10%, and then also online we have quizzes. That's about the same as the homeworks. You're wondering what's the difference between an online homework and an online quiz. There's not too much difference because they're both online. The big difference is the help features are turned off for the quizzes. Okay, but you have help features turned on for the homework, all right? The reason that we have homework and then quizzes is because, when you take a test, you don't have a help button, right? Okay, all you've got is you and your brain. So I need to give you some experience with doing the problems without help available because you'll get addicted to the help, and then with the first test, you'll be like, oh, God, I knew how to do that when I had the help button, but now I don't know how to do it. So I need to give you practice, working the problems without any help. That's the purpose of the quizzes. So there's usually a quiz about every 2 or 3 homework assignments. So we'll have 2 or 3 homework assignments, then we'll have a quiz, and then 2 or 3 homework assignments in the quiz. The quizzes are much shorter than the homework assignments, all right? Okay? So the quiz is to prepare you for tests. We have regular old-fashioned tests, so there will be 3 of them. I'll show you the dates here in just a second. They're on the syllabus. The first one, I think, is February the 24th. So we have 3 tests. Those count about half of your grade, not quite. Notice that the homework and the test combined count about the same as actually slightly more than a midterm test. If you divide 48 by 3, you get 16. So each midterm test is worth 16%, and notice the homework and the quizzes together are worth 19%. So think of your homework and your quizzes as like a test. Okay, this is like a test. What's nice, though, about the homework and the quizzes is you can really control your grade, not perfectly, but to a high degree on the homeworks and the quizzes, because you get 5 chances to submit answers, okay, on the homework and the quizzes. All right. Of course, you only get 1 chance to submit the test, right? So you can improve your score to a high degree on the homework and the quizzes, and you can end up with a really nice high homework and quiz average, and that's like having 1 test really good, okay, right? So even when you know the material perfectly, and I was a student, that was a long time ago, but I remember, okay, even when you know the material perfectly, you come in, you take the test, and, things happen, right? You get nervous, or, you get brain freeze, right, okay, and, you forget how to do something that you knew perfectly how to do when you walked in, right? So, your test grades you cannot control perfectly, but your homework and your quiz grades you really have a lot of control over. So you can make that really high, okay? And that counts about the same as the test. We will be having participation in class, so and you'll see how this works in just a second. But there's class participation. That's 5% of your grade, okay? That also is easy to earn. If you're showing up and you're not just tuning out. And when I ask you a question, you try to give me an answer. Sometimes you can answer, sometimes you can't, right? Okay. But if you're making a good faith effort, right, then you can really have a high class participation score too. Okay. So that's an easy one to make. And then we do have a comprehensive final exam. And that is worth 28%, so not quite a third of your grade. So if you add all those things up, I think it comes out to be 100, unless I've just completely messed up there, okay? So that's what your grade looks like. So it's kind of very traditional, right? Homework, 3 midterm tests, and comprehensive final exam, which is on May the 11th. So that's a long way off, right? It's comprehensive final exam. Looks a lot like the midterm test, except it's just a little bit longer. I don't give multiple choice tests, by the way. People always ask me this. Yeah, I don't give multiple choice tests, okay? So it's usually short answer type tests. So you'll work the problem, give me the answer. The advantage to that, I know sometimes you like multiple choice tests, but you really have an advantage with short answer tests because I can give you extra credit. But on multiple choice, it's hard to give you extra credit, right? Okay, so, it's kind of a mixed bag there. But anyway, I don't give multiple choice tests because I need to see your work to get a feel for, how you guys are progressing, right? Okay. All right, now here's where the class gets really interesting. I hope this doesn't confuse you too much, okay? It'll take you a little while to get used to it. All students like extra credit. I know that, okay, because I was a student, as I mentioned, 150 years ago or whatever it was, okay? And so all students like extra credit, all right? Well, in this class, we do have extra credit, okay? In this class, you can earn what's called calculus currency, all right? And at the end of the semester, so in the grade book, you will have a column called calculus currency. And I'm going to keep that updated with your the money that you've earned through this extra credit system. At the end of the semester, you can use that calculus currency how you like according to this table, okay? So it's up to you how you want to use your calculus currency at the end of the semester to purchase extra credit, all right? So here's how it works, okay? And so I'm hoping that keep your eye on this, right, okay, because this can be kind of valuable, right? Here's how it works. So here's how you earn extra credit in the class, all right? If you attend an SI session with John, okay, there's John, right? So his SI sessions are right after class. So some of you may not be able to do that because it may not be convenient for your schedule. I know that, right? But if you can, you will earn $2 per session, okay? So John's going to keep track of who's come, and he's just going to give you the names. And then, every time I see your name there, you get $2, all right, in your calculus currency column in the grade book, right? Okay. If you complete an extra credit assignment, and there are already 2 posted, I'll show you them to you in a moment, you get $5 per assignment, okay? Now, there is a minimum grade that you have to make on the assignment. It varies with the assignment, though, because some of the assignments are harder than others, all right? So, with each assignment, I'll tell you what the minimum grade is that you have to make on the assignment to get the extra credit for that, right? Okay? So we'll have a few of those during the semester, all right? If you make higher than 80 on a midterm test, 80 or higher, you get $5, right? If you make 90 or higher on a midterm test, what does that say, $10? Okay? Yeah, so on one of those 3 midterm tests, right, if you make 80 or higher, you get $5. 90 or higher, $10, right? Okay? Now, if you have increasing midterm test scores, that means, you won't know this till the end of the semester, each of your midterm scores got higher, okay? So say you made a 50 on the first one, then you made a 70 on the second one, then you made a 90 on the third one. See, that's increasing midterm test scores. Then at the end of the semester, I give you $10 for that, okay? All right, so increasing test scores. Now, there is a little bit of a penalty if you don't do well. If you make below 70 on the midterm test, I'm going to charge you $5. You can't go below 0, okay? All right, so you can't go below 0 in this system. But that in parentheses means -5. And if you make below 60, I'm going to charge you 15, okay? So if you've done, really good on one and really bad on one, then those two are going to cancel each other out in terms of your currency scores, right? If you have an 85 plus homework average, that's worth $5. So it's the end of the semester. If you have 85 or above on your homework average, which is really easy to do, most of you will, you get $5. 90 plus, many of you will, you get $10. 80 plus quiz average is 5. 85 plus quiz average, you can see the quizzes are usually a little bit harder. You get $10. And then if you don't violate the attendance policy, what's the attendance policy again? You can't miss more than 3 days. Yeah, if you don't violate the attendance policy, you get $15. So that's at the end of the semester, you get $15. How can you spend your money now? Okay, here's how you can spend your money. All right, look, if you have $60 in the bank at the end of the semester, you can buy out of the final exam. Okay, you do not have to come and take the final exam. All right, okay. Yeah, I knew I'd get a question on that. Yeah, what's that?
Is that a no count or is that 100?
What now?
Like, is that count as a no count or is that 100 on the final exam?
No, that what I'll do is take the average of your midterm scores. Okay, that will be your final exam grade, right? Okay, so the average of your 3 midterms will be the final exam grade. Okay, you can, if you have just $25. So this is not very expensive. This is pretty easy to get if you don't violate the attendance policy and maybe do a couple of the extra credit assignments. You can earn $25, and you can take the final exam score and replace your lowest midterm test score. Okay, so your final exam score, which if you take the final exam, for most people that's higher than one of their midterm test scores. People just you tend to learn and get smarter by the end of the semester, right? So for a lot of people, your final exam score will be higher than one of your midterm test scores, so you get to replace the midterm test score. It was just $25. If you want some bonus points on your midterm tests, so points added to your midterm tests, so say you made a 70 on the midterm test and you have some calculus currency to spend, you can buy points for your midterm test. $3 a point, okay? If you want to drop your lowest quiz grade, that's $10 per quiz dropped. If you want to drop your lowest homework grade, that's $5 per homework drop. So if you had $20 and you wanted to drop your 4 lowest homework grades to raise your homework average, and that counts how much of your final average? 10%, right. Then you can purchase that $5 per homework dropped, okay? Yeah. So let me say one more thing, and then you ask your question. So at the end of the semester, I'm going to give you a sheet saying, how do you want to spend your, you have $40 of calculus currency, not quite enough to buy out of the final exam, but you can certainly buy other things. How do you want to spend it, okay? And then you'll have to decide what your best options are. Please do not come and ask me to calculate your grade with 5 different options, all right? You can do that, all right? I don't want to do that for you, okay, right? So you can calculate that. I'll help you do that, but I'm not going to do that just automatically, okay? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's for every midterm, right? Yeah, for every midterm you score 90 or above, you get, what is it? $10? Yeah, you get $10 in the bank, right? Okay. So how can we buy out of the final exam? Don't violate the attendance policy. A couple of 90s there. Good homework average, good quiz average. Go to a few SI sessions, right, or complete a few of these extra credit assignments. You can get to 60 pretty easy there, I think, okay? And then you can buy out of the final exam. Now, you may decide that I don't want to buy out of the final exam because, maybe your midterm average is only 80. And you're thinking, oh, I can maybe score 90 or higher on the final exam, right? Okay. This is up to you, right? It's your option. Okay. So you just look and see what you've got and how you want to spend it, and it's your choice. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Let's say you get a 90 on the midterm test, do we get credit for getting an 80 and a 90, or just?
Oh yeah. Each one can earn you points, right? But what you want to stay away from is a really low grade, okay? Because that costs you, right? Okay. So particularly below 60, you'd like to stay away from that. All right. Yeah, because you're going to lose 15 of your dollars. Yeah, right. Okay. Because I can't really let people buy out of the final who are not passing the midterm test, right? Okay. You've got to come take the final. Okay. All right. So try to stay away from. That's really what you want to stay away from. But that should be pretty easy to do. I rarely have not rarely, but I don't have a lot of scores below 60 usually on midterm tests if people prepare, okay? Now, there's always the person, who hasn't shown up and not done any of their homework, and, of course, they're going to come in and bomb it, but, that's just inevitable, right, okay? But if you're participating, doing your homework, coming to class, then this is pretty rare, okay? I'm not saying you'll make above a 90 on the midterm test, but it's usually pretty easy to not bomb it, right? At least not bomb it, all right, with below 60. Does that kind of make sense? Sort of, okay? So you'll see that in the gradebook all the time. That should be always available in the online gradebook. All the grades are kept online, by the way. So as I mentioned earlier, so you will always know what your current average is throughout the semester, and you know how much calculus currency you have. Of course, your current average is not going to really mean much until we get one test under our belt, but it'll always be there, okay? So you'll know, what your average is. And, of course, that just leads to your grade in the regular way, okay? All right, if you're going to drop the course, one more thing, make sure you do it before March 31st. So if you stop coming, make sure you go and drop, because otherwise you'll get an F. So please don't fall into that trap. Every semester I have people who stop coming for whatever reason. Maybe they just hate me, or they got a new job or something, right? But they stop coming, and then they don't go drop the class, and they end up with an F in their transcript, and that's really ugly. So you don't want that. So if you're going to stop coming, go and drop, right? So it doesn't harm your GPA, right? Okay. You have to do that by March 31st, and here is just a really brief schedule of the semester. So I don't have a daily schedule yet. But what I do have is the test date. So as I mentioned, our first midterm test is February the 24th. So wherever we're at in the material by February 24th, that's it. Our second one is March 30th. So that's after spring break. Spring break is March 14th to the 18th. And then the final one is May 2nd. That's the last class day. And then 9 days after that is the final exam. That's a Wednesday, so that May the 11th is the final exam. It's here at the regular class time. It's just a little bit longer time because the final exam is a little bit longer, right? Usually than the midterm. So at least you know the test date's here and where we're going to start. We're going to start with Chapter 1 right at the beginning with Section 1. But that material is mostly review, okay? That material is mostly review. And so we're not going to treat that with quite the same depth as we do the material beginning with Chapter 2, because that's the new stuff, okay? But I do have to give you a little bit of a review of the topic of functions, which you probably, if you just got through with Math 1301, College Algebra, you know all about functions, so this is all fresh to you. But for those people who may be a little bit rusty on that, we've got to have a little bit of a review of the terminology. And then we'll get right into the calculus part, which begins right there with Chapter 2. Okay, so that is kind of a review of the syllabus. Are there any questions about that? All right, so we got through a lot of that. That wasn't too bad. So I gave you a sheet here. I got to look at the Webassign homework system, though. But I gave you a sheet here. I haven't done this before. But I send messages to the class, not all the time, so I'm not going to be bombarding you with messages, but occasionally I'll send messages to the class. I like to send those through email, but if you want to get them, if you're not reading your email, then you can also get messages through text messaging system. Here's how you register for the text messaging system. So this is purely optional, okay? There are the instructions for registering. This is a third-party text messaging system, so I will not know your phone number, okay? I do not care to know your phone number, all right? I'll be sending text messages through this system, and I don't have access to your phone number, all right? So don't worry about me invading your privacy. I'm not going to know your phone number. And you won't know my phone number either, okay? So except for my office phone number. You won't know my cell phone number. So if you want the option of being texted, then register according to these instructions, and then I'll try to send text messages at the same time I'm sending emails, okay? All right. So that's your option. That's a new thing, so I haven't done this before, so we'll see how that works. Let's look at the, before we fill out those 2 index cards, let's look at the online homework system now. Let me see if I can get to it here. So I can show you how to log on to that. Let me see if I can get out of Blackboard. Okay, so again, the address is, there it is, webassign.net. It's not .com, so you have to get used to that. It's webassign.net, all right? And the first thing you're going to do when you come here is you're going to sign up, and I think you do that by entering the class key, right? So when you go to this page, start there by entering the class key, and once you've entered the class key, then that will enroll you in the class, and I think you will go ahead and set up your account with Webassign, okay? You may have an account with Webassign, and I don't know how to access prior accounts with Webassign, but the first thing you do here is enter the class key. So it'll probably, we'll try entering the class key and see in just a second and see what it asks us, all right? But this is how you actually get enrolled in the class. And again, you have a grace period till February 1st before you actually have to purchase the access, right? Okay? The class key is not the same as the access code. That's separate. And I think you only have to enter this once. Once you get enrolled, you will set up a username and a password, right? So it'll be the usual method for logging in, right? Set up a username and password. Usually your username is your email address. Please use an email when you register for this system. Please use an email that you check, okay? Because again, I am going to be emailing the class. So if you want to use Gator Mail, that's fine. I won't, but use some email that you actually read. So I know a lot of you do not read Gator Mail. So if you're not reading Gator Mail, don't use that email address, okay? The ideal one would be the one linked to your phone, because that's probably the only email that you ever look at, right? Okay? All right, so in the syllabus, you've got to ferret it out there. Is the class key? What is the class key? Can y'all tell me here? We'll just see. We'll see how many steps we can take of this process. Does it begin with UHD?
Yeah, it's 75, 65.
UHD. And what's the second set there?
75, 65.
75, 65.
And
3788. Okay, so I think you only need to know that once. Let's submit that. It did recognize it. Okay, that is the right class. So that's me, Dr. Waller. We are at the University of Houston downtown. Okay, so let's click on there, and then this is probably how we're as far as we're going to make it, right? Okay, today, because then if you don't have a Webassign account, you'll want to create one. If you do have a Webassign account, so if you've used Webassign before and you can remember your username and your password, then you can go ahead and say, I have a Webassign account, all right, okay? But just because you have an account doesn't mean that you have access to the class. You have to purchase that separately, right? And it will give you, constant messages about you need to purchase access to the class until you finally purchase access, right? So you can do that online for $82 if you have a credit card, or you can go to the bookstore. You'll pay a little bit more, but you don't have to purchase the hard copy of the book. You can just purchase the access code, all right? So if the bookstore says we don't have this, then they showed online that they did have just the access code. So tell them, no, I saw online that you just have the access. You tell them, I just want the access code, because the book is super expensive. Super expensive. All right, so, if you're really rich, then you can buy that. But otherwise, I would save the money. Yeah.
You said that we can purchase the online textbook along with the access code. Does that cost maybe something else?
Yeah, you'll see in a minute here. I'll log in as myself, and I'll show you the textbook is there. Okay, right, and it's it's kind of in PDF format, and you can print pages from it. It's kind of awkward to print pages because I think it makes you print one page at a time. So you're probably not going to want to print the pages, but you can read it online. Okay. But again, we probably won't be reading the book. This is not like an English class, right, or a history class. You're not going to be reading the textbook that often, right? Okay. We will refer to the textbook from time to time, but not as much as in, say a psychology class, for instance, right? Okay. A lot of the things will come through our notes that we're having here in class, all right? So, again, you get access till February 1st, so go ahead and create your account with an email that you read and get enrolled in the class, and you can start working on the very first assignment, and I'll show you that now. So let me go back and see if I can log in as myself. And I'll show you what the class actually looks like, all right? Okay, so I have more than one class here, and this is my view, but I'm going to open the student view, and so when you log in, at first you're going to see this, which is, you need to purchase access, or you can continue with the trial period, right, okay, for a few more days. I'm going to just say I'm going to continue with the trial period here, and then you'll see this, okay? So that's basically the page that gives you access to there's all the homework assignments that are already posted, and there are my announcements, okay? My office hours and where my office is located and things like that, right? The hours for our peer tutor, John, although I don't have that posted yet, but I'll do that shortly. I didn't put that in there yet. How the extra credit assignments, where you can find the lecture notes and the lecture videos. Remember, that's on the Blackboard page, so that's not through Webassign. And here are the assignments that I currently have posted. These due dates are a little bit flexible. I just put something up there to get us started, so we may adjust those. Notice that the very first assignment with the asterisk, that means that is an extra credit assignment, okay? So that's an extra credit assignment where you can earn the $5 for completing an extra credit assignment. This just shows you how to enter answers in this system, okay? So it gives you a little bit of practice with how you type in answers, math answers, how you draw graphs, and things like that in this online homework system, right? So it's maybe 20 problems, and they're really quite routine, right? It's just helping you figure out how to type in mathematical expressions in this homework system, okay? Most of you have used an online homework system before for math, so you're maybe not this system, but they're all quite similar to one another, so you probably having some experience with this already, but if you haven't, then they're really easy to use. So except for maybe the graphing takes a little bit of a while to get used to, but otherwise you'll figure this out pretty quickly. Okay. So the 88 means that is the score you have to have on the assignment to get the $5 extra credit. Okay. So it's just not that you open and look at it. You've got to get 88, right? Okay. Notice there's another extra credit assignment that's already posted, and you can start working on this one as well. It's not due until the first test because this is quite a bit longer, so you may want to work on this a little bit at a time. This is an algebra review. One of the things that frequently trips up students in calculus is their algebra skills or get rusty, because who does algebra every day, right? Okay, so your algebra skills may be a little bit rusty, so that's an algebra review to get you warmed up on your algebra skills, so solving equations and simplifying expressions and how do you simplify exponents and things like that. So this one, is pretty long, so you only have to make an 82 on this one to get the $5 extra credit. But I suggest that these two you can start working on immediately. This one you probably want to do a little bit at a time. You're probably not going to sit down and do all of that at once because that one's pretty long, okay? But it's not due until the first test, so you've got over a month, right? So you do that, two or three problems a day, and then by the first test you will have got your 82, and then you can have that $5 in the bank, right? Okay. The first actual homework assignment is this one, the Algebra Review Part 1, all right? So I've got that posted as due on February 3rd. I may adjust that as soon as we start talking about that material, I'm ready to go with the lecture notes, but I don't know how far we'll get into that today. But that's the actual first homework assignment. So if it doesn't have an asterisk after it, it's an actual homework assignment, right? And of course, the things that say quiz, that's a quiz, all right? The quiz follows the homework assignment. So the quiz problems are similar to the homework problems, except the help is turned off, and this quiz is like 10 problems, okay? So after you finish these two homeworks, then you can do the quiz. But we're really not ready for these two homeworks yet. You can try them if you want to, but we're really not ready for those yet. I would start with the extra credit assignments first, just to get started, okay, with the system, okay? So you get an idea of how that's going to work, all right? If you need help, just go to the syllabus or call me or email me, and I can try to answer your questions, how to get you on. John, I've got to get you set up as a teaching assistant, maybe I can get that done today. I've got to talk with the rep, okay? Do you have a Webassign account? Have you used Webassign before? Okay, so that may make it easier, but I don't know the details of that, okay? So John will have access to the homework as well, so he'll know how to do the homework problems, so that's why he's such a great resource for going and asking questions, all right? Okay, we've got just enough time here now to fill out the 2 index cards, okay, that I gave you. So one of them is a colored card like this one, right? It's the slightly bigger one. This is not quite as big as I wanted it, but this is the biggest I could find yesterday. So look, what I want you to do is to fold this. This is called hamburger style. Fold it long ways, right? From top to bottom, not like this, because it's going to come out really small if you do it that way. That's called hot dog style. But hamburger style like this, okay? And I want you to put some information, because we're going to form a tent out of that. I'm going to go ahead and fold yours. Because I'm old and I have a hard time remembering people's names, okay? So this is going to be your name tent, right? And you don't have to keep track of this. John and I are going to keep track of these, but when you're in class and I need to call your name, because I hate to say, hey, you know, I have to look at those for a while until I start learning people's names, okay? All right, so here's what I want you to put on there for me, though. Of course, in the middle, you're going to put your name, okay, first and last name, but put your first name that you prefer to be called, okay, right, okay? So, you know, if your name is Elizabeth, but you go by Betty or something like that, right, okay? Put the name that first name that you want me to call me, and then your last name, all right? So that's what goes in the middle. But then I want some additional information about you so we can get to know each other a little bit here in the class. So in the top, what side is that? Left-hand corner, okay? In the top left-hand corner, write down your major or your intended major or whatever your area of interest is, okay? So if you're, you know, what you're most interested in if you're undeclared. So of course I was a math major, you know, right? Okay, so that's pretty obvious. So math major. And then on the other top corner, put your favorite book, movie, or song. All right? Favorite book, movie, or song. This can be just the first thing that occurs to you, right? You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. You know, if you heard something on the, radio on the way in, right, and you've been humming that all day, then you can put that down, okay? But if you really do have a favorite book, one or the other, doesn't have to be all three, favorite book, movie, or song, right, then put that in the other corner, okay? So major, right, is here. Name, of course, is in the middle. Make that kind of big so I can see it. And then, what did I say, favorite book, movie, or song? And then down here, I want you to draw a picture of your favorite hobby or pastime, okay? So draw me a picture. Don't write it out in words. I want you to draw a picture of your favorite hobby or pastime. Now keep it clean for me here, all right? So draw a picture of that, and then on the last corner, your favorite food. All right, what's your favorite food? Okay, so if you could have a meal of anything, what's your favorite thing to eat, right? I'm going to put my card right there so you will remember my name throughout the semester, okay? And you'll know a little bit about me. So let's take a few minutes to everyone to fill that out. Now, on the white card, all I need is your name, all right? So whatever you put here on the white card, just put that, that's where you put, right? So what your first name that you like to be called, okay, and that you go by, right? So what your friends call you, okay, and then and the white card, that's all that goes there, all right? Yeah, I want your last name. Yeah, your first and last name, right? Okay, both of them on the white card.
Can we write it really big so we fill up the whole card?
That one you don't have to write as big, but because I'm going to collect that one, but your name tag you're going to that'll be at your desk while you're sitting here. But you don't have to keep track of that. John and I are going to keep track of your name tents for you because I know that's easy thing to lose, right? Okay. So when you're finished with your name tent, put that there for me, right? Okay. So I can see you. Zaman, is that what you say? Zaman? Okay. All right. And now I'm going to mess that up, Zaman. So you just have to keep correcting me, you know. Eventually you'll probably get exasperated. Oh, Dr. Mohar. How many times do I have to tell you? It's Zaman, right? But just be patient with me, all right? So when you're finished with your name tent, just put that up, okay? And then the white card, though, I'm going to collect, okay? So the white card I'm going to collect. Yeah, first name and last name. Yeah, I need them both. Because we often have people with the same name. Actually, sometimes we have people with both names exactly the same, and that really gets confusing. But then I may have to we may have to start going by numbers in that case. So. So, Gerard, put your last name on there, too, for me, would you? Yeah. Yeah, the white card I'm going to collect. I'll collect it in a second, but the name tent, just keep that on your desk. And eventually, I'll get to know you, so the name tents will become less important. But at the first part of the semester, the name tent really going to help me, okay? Because I really don't like not being able to call people by their name. And I want y'all to get to know each other, too. That's really important, okay? So everyone's sort of groovy with the Webassign. Y'all got that sort of at least have an idea now? So you'll probably have some questions, but that's normal. Okay, so pass your white cards over to the middle here so I can collect them. And you'll see what my insidious plan is with these white cards. My evil plan. Does everyone give me one? I've got to have one from everybody. That's super important. So yeah, you can still be working on your name tents. Okay. All right, let me get Zaman. Well, we'll leave Zaman out because I've already talked a little bit to Zaman. All right, so I'm going to mix these up a little bit. Okay, here's the bad thing about the class. One thing I do like to do is I do like to call people out in class to answer questions sometimes. Okay, so sometimes I just have people raise the hand, but sometimes I'll call on people. However, I want to do that respectfully. So before I call on someone to answer a question over the notes that we're going over in class, I try to always give you guys a chance to talk amongst yourselves and work on the problem first, okay? So that you'll feel comfortable with giving me an answer if I have to call on you. But even if you don't know the answer, don't worry, right? Because this is a learning process, right? So actually, in some ways, it's better to be called on when you don't know the answer because that will help you learn the answer, all right? So, Zaman, I'm going to have you pick a card for me. I'm not asking a question now, though. So, Zaman, just pick one out there for me. Right, okay. So, it's Alex. All right. Okay, so, Alex, you're going to share a little bit about your name tent, okay? Is your name tent still up? Yeah, no. Yeah, I keep the name tents, right, okay? So, I want you to stand up and introduce yourself to the class for us, okay? And tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Okay? So, you go by Jones? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So, this is Jones, and so Jones, you got to tell us something about yourself, like what is your major? Business management. Yeah, okay, this is going to be kind of a little bit boring in this class because y'all are all business majors, right? So often in class, we get a mix of majors. This is going to be a business management. What's your favorite book, movie, or song?
Let's go with Back to Back by Drake.
That must be a song, okay? Because I know Drake is a singer, but I certainly don't know that song. But you don't have to perform any of it to tell us about that, okay? So Back to Back, is that a good song? Yeah, okay, all right. Maybe I've heard it before, but I wouldn't know it if I heard it. All right, sorry. What is your favorite hobby? I can't tell what that is. Money, okay. Does that mean you rob banks or something like that, or? Oh yeah. So working is your favorite pastime? That's okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So you're interested in making money, though. All right. Okay. Yeah. So the key to wealth is going to be learning calculus, right? Okay. Yeah, that it really is. All right. So that will distinguish you from other people who are also interested in making money. And then finally, what do you like to eat there? Yeah, I like that too. Everybody likes that. Okay. All right. So you see, Alex and Zaman now have done their Jones. I'm sorry, have done their. You see, they've done their duty, so they've already got some class participation points that they're already banking there. Okay. So Jones, I will have you pick the next person that's going to see, because I don't want you to think I'm picking on anybody. Nora, where's Nora? Hey, Nora. Okay, so you get to do the same thing, Nora. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your major?
My major is marketing.
Marketing, okay. So marketing and management too. What's your favorite book, movie, or song?
My favorite song is Yellow by Coldplay.
Oh, I know. See, now even I know that song. That's old enough that I know that song. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. So that's a good song. What is your favorite pastime? Can y'all figure out what? Wait. Can y'all figure out what Nora drew there? Is that it? Shopping? Yeah, that's what it looks like there. At Sephora and
Victoria's Secret.
What?
Victoria's
Oh, Victoria's Secret. Okay, all right. I don't shop at either of those places very often. Okay. And then what's your favorite food? Pizza. Yeah, that usually is right at the top of the list of favorite foods when I ask people what their favorite food is. Everybody likes pizza. Okay. All right. Oops, no, I walked away there. We've got time for a couple more here, so let's meet a couple more people here in the class. Okay. So 2 interesting people so far. Pick one for me there. Yay! Oh boy! I'm having a hard time with your name. Nosy? How do you say it? What? Ngozi. Okay, so I say the N and the G. Okay, all right. And how do you say your last name? Abalaka. Okay, so Ngozi Abalaka. All right. Okay. Maybe the Ngozi I will get good. Okay. The Abalaka is going to take me a long time. All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So, what is your major? Accounting. So there's, well, at least you got 3 different ones already. So accounting, and what's your favorite book, movie, or song?
Okay, Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart. What is that?
It's a book and movie all together, but it's a Nigerian movie.
I see, Nigerian. Oh, okay. So you're from, I guess, Nigeria, right? Oh, okay, excellent. All right. So what is that about?
It's about the story of a man, that was, it's kind of tricky to explain it, but he was a successful man and, married happily with kids and all this kind of doing very well. So, but later, everything turned apart.
That sounds kind of depressing. Everything just falls apart. See, right? I guess that's the name of the book. Right. Okay. All right. And what did you draw there? Let's see if we can figure out what Ngozi drew. What is that? Is it cooking? Yeah, I was guessing that was cooking. Right. Okay. That's good. Oh, all right. And so what do you like to cook? What do you like to eat?
Fried rice.
Fried rice. That's a good one too. Okay. Like that also. All right. Fried rice. So do you cook that?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Ngozi, you get picked. Let's do one more.
Okay.
All right. So, I already talked to him. Is it Gerard? How do you say your name?
It's Gerard.
Gerard. Okay. Well, I thought maybe it had a strange pronunciation or something. All right. So, Gerard, stand up and introduce yourself to everyone. Okay.
Gerard, guys. I major is general business because I kind of don't really know, I guess, what I want to do.
Which specialty now? Okay, yeah. So after calculus, you'll want to do finance or something like that, right? So, you will just something that's really mathematical. I know. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I guess favorite movies, Star Wars. The new one just came out, so totally geeking out.
Okay. No, that's a lot of people like Star Wars, right? That's made a lot of money. All right. All right. Show us your picture there so we can figure out what you like to do.
I play soccer since I was like 4, so.
Is that's a soccer ball? Did y'all know that?
It looks like a ball. It's like a ball in the cleats.
It does look like a ball, but okay. So we'll trust that that's a soccer ball. And you like to eat what?
I figured I'd embrace my ethnicity and just like sushi.
Sushi. Oh, okay. Because your ethnicity is?
Well, I'm Filipino, but everybody calls me Asian.
You're Filipino. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So I know lots of Filipinos. Great. Okay. But you don't have a Filipino accent, so you were not born?
I actually was. I am an immigrant, and I have a bottom shot to prove it.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I actually moved here when I was like 3, so.
Oh, I see. So, all right. So you have a American accent. All right. Excellent. Okay. So see, there's 3. I've got to remember who those 3 were. How can I arrange those? Oh, I remember that. All right. Okay, so your name tint now, we're out of time. Your name tint now you're going to leave on your table. So don't take that with you, right? Because we're going to collect those and we'll keep track of those for you, all right? And then get started on that Webassign extra credit assignments at least so you can get some currency in the bank, okay? And then I will see you on Monday and we will begin with the review of the things that we need to review, all right?